welcome, bestie. This is the first episode of Real Talk Friend Therapy. Hey y'all, I'm your host, Daysha Veronica, and I am so excited to welcome you to Real Talk Friend Therapy. If you're new here, I am so happy to have you. And if you're a returning fan of Real Talk Love Therapy, welcome back. Now, unlike the first iteration of this podcast, I will be running this show solo. And the reason for that is part of the reason why I actually pivoted away from talking about love to friendship. My co-host and I met while working at BuzzFeed, so if I look familiar or sound familiar, it is because of that. We did a lot of videos together, which led to people shipping us. Is shipping still even like a thing? Is that a term, or do I sound like a millennial grandma? But anyway, people thought that we should be romantically involved, which is why we titled the first episode of Real Talk Love Therapy, Why Aren't We Dating? Now, I'm not gonna act like people were crazy. I can see to some degree why people thought that we would make a good couple, but as someone who lived in the realities of that relationship, that type of romantic thing it wouldn't have worked. So the next best thing we thought at the time was to do a podcast about love. And I'll be real, the podcast was doing great. I mean, every week we saw our numbers rising. We were growing our Patreon community. And, I was even getting called out in the streets. People I love the podcast. The fan base was getting there. But as the podcast was rising, our quote unquote friendship was sinking faster than the Titanic. And I mean, running any type of business or project can be straining on any relationship, whether that's platonic or romantic. But reflecting now, and this is why I say quote unquote friendship, is that I don't actually believe that we had a friendship, at least by my standards. And, I think that we were two people who worked together and had intense emotions about each other. It's like an understatement. But I can't say I would call what we had friendship, just because there were so many key parts to what make a friendship that I believe that our relationship lacked when I look back at it. And it was definitely a relationship dynamic that contributed a lot to this emotional reckoning that I had with myself in 2018 about my friendships. And, all of this is to say that while I hate that we had to go through what we did for me to obtain this wisdom and how I look at friendship now in terms of what I need, I don't regret knowing him or even starting the podcast with him. I think that everything happens for a reason, and that people come into our lives for a reason. And so the most valuable thing you can do is take what you need from those relationships to be better and do better. So don't ask me nothing else about this man. I don't have anything for you. I don't know him. So part of the reason why this episode is called Why Aren't We Friends is to harken back to that first episode, but it's also because in the world, I've just been seeing more and more articles about how we as a society are so damn lonely. According to poll results published in October 2023, 1 in 4 adults across the world have reported feeling very or fairly lonely. And in just the US, where I'm based, 1 in 2 adults are living with measurable levels of loneliness. Y'all. USA Today reports that there are more lonely adults in the US than people living with diabetes, which if you've been to America, then that's a lot of lonely ass adults. And I say this as a pre-diabetic. The struggle is real. I know the struggle. I mean, we are so lonely that people are creating friendship applications on social media just to create some form of connection. And I know for some people that sounds super cringe, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't hate this idea. because it at least shows that people are trying to put themselves out there and they're willing to do something about this. But sadly, even these social media want ads for friends still aren't working the way people hoped it would, because like anyone who's ever tried to sell anything on Facebook Marketplace can tell you, there's a lot of engagement, but very little follow through. I mean, Facebook Marketplace, I just get so irritated at how many people will send you a message saying, is this available? And then we'll leave you on red. Like, why are you talking to me? And if that is the energy that people are getting to their friendship want ads, I can only imagine how much that would just make my loneliness like skyrocket. So the killer irony in all of this is that if you are one of those adults that's feeling that sense of loneliness, you are not alone. I need a little ta-ta. But that then leads us to this bigger question, which is, why aren't we friends? Why aren't we all getting together and curing our loneliness problem? I mean, isn't this the reason why we were willing to risk getting one of the world's most deadly diseases to get out of our houses and stop wearing masks so that we could feel more connected? Like, make it make sense. Well, I think a lot of us learned, whether it was before or definitely during the pandemic, that our so-called friends might not have actually been our friends. So there was actually a video that went viral on Twitter, and yes, I said Twitter, okay? If I'm gonna be a millennial grandma, I'm gonna be a millennial grandma. And it features this woman who's crying to her community and talking about how basically during lockdown, she got this rude awakening that the people that she considered top tier friends didn't actually feel the same way about her. And she couldn't understand how she got to this place in her relationships. So the comments were what you could expect if you're somebody that's on the internet. Some were offering empathy and even friendship. And some were saying that she needed to cut the crap and pull herself up by her bootstraps and just go out and meet people. I will say the comment that really hit me deep was, the friends you make are contingent on your actions and the energy you give. The real question is, what type of friend were you? What a word. You better come on now, sister commenter, with this word right here. Okay, I'm gonna read it again. The friends you make are contingent on your actions and the energy you give. The real question is, what type of friend were you? Because at the end of the day, you are what you give. You are what you put into your relationships. And so if you are not watering your seeds of friendship, if you are not being there for people in their time of need or time of success, if your expectation is only to get and not to give, this is why we are lonely, okay? We are what we give. But I say that acknowledging that it's also not just the energy that we give to other people, it's giving that energy to the right people. Because I was a victim of this. I strongly believe that you treat people the way that you want to be treated. And so I want to be treated above and beyond. I'm going to tell you right now. And so I would give that energy to all kinds of people that would come into my life. The problem is not everybody is worthy of that energy. And so giving it out so freely left me drained and bitter and upset and angry. And honestly confused because, again, you're supposed to get what you give. But I had to learn that not everyone you meet is worth giving. So who is worth giving? Well, we're going to figure that out. This podcast is going to be a space for us to get real. Not only about what we need in our friendships, but also what kind of person do we need to be to attract those kinds of friends that we want. For those of you who are just meeting me for the first time and might be wondering why I'm the best person to host this space, let me give you a little bit on me. Okay. So I started my career at BuzzFeed in their video department when I was just a little baby 21-year-old, fresh out of college. And I joined at a time when the video department was looking to find its voice. They just didn't know what they were doing. And they gave us a lot of free reign to make content that we cared about. So a lot of people will say that this was the golden era of BuzzFeed, like around 2014 to 2017. And for me, I just loved making content for women and young girls. Content that either inspired them or motivated them or even just made them feel less alone. The type of content that I would have like killed for as a very insecure young girl. And in 2017, when I realized that BuzzFeed was going in a direction that just did not fit my creative desires, I left to go back to school for playwriting, which is a very deep passion of mine. And I also wanted to dig deeper into how I could help make this next generation of women more confident and basically give like no fucks about bullshit opinions of them. So I started Yes Queen, my lifestyle brand that's devoted to helping women be that bitch that people want to shout Yes Queen when they see them. And being real, that has also been a crazy ride full of ups and downs, Lord knows. But it's work that I love, and it truly just gives me so much joy. But back in 2020, literally 2 months before lockdown, and well into my second year of grad school, I published a book. I know what you're thinking. With what fucking time? Like, anyone who's been to grad school is like, with what fucking time, bitch? But like, I always said I wanted to be an author, and I'm not waiting for a book deal. No one's telling me when I can be an author. I'm doing it today. So I self-published a book called Eat Your Way to Self-Confidence, which I always knew I wanted to be deeper than just a how-to book on my weight loss journey. For those that don't know, my weight has been something that I've struggled with my whole entire life. Even now, I, like a lot of people, gained weight during the pandemic. And I have to say, I'm actually really glad I wrote the book when I did, because it has actually given me so much peace as I navigate getting back down to a healthier weight. But one of the biggest points I make in the book is that gaining weight is not the worst thing to ever happen to us. Yes, it can be uncomfortable. Yes, it can be saddening, but truly our happiness does not have to end with weight gain, just like it doesn't have to begin at weight loss, even though a lot of us choose to live our lives that way. And again, this is me included. I gotta go back and read my own damn book sometimes and be like, girl, you is so smart and you is kind. So while I was piecing myself back together after my emotional reckoning in 2018, I had a psychic. And I know for some of you, it's like, but I am a little woo-woo. I'm gonna let y'all know that now. So I had a psychic that I like to visit from time to time, and every time I would see her, she would tell me that I had someone in my circle of friends who is very jealous of me, and that I needed to be careful about what I shared. And I gotta be real, it always took me aback every time she said it until 2018. And then it made me realize how vital my close relationships were to my well-being. So in Eat Your Way to Self-Confidence, I devote a whole chapter to friendship and the ways in which having low-quality friends could be derailing your weight loss goals. And let me tell you, anyone who's written a book can tell you that, like, as much as you enjoy the subject matter, how passionate you are about the project, it is still so fucking hard to write. And honestly, like, a slog to get through sometimes. But I will say, when I started working on this particular chapter, I had so much fun. It was easily one of the most interesting chapters to do research on. And I just remember having so many realizations and revelations while I was writing it. And so in my process, I had test readers give their feedback on the book before it was published. And like, when I tell you that there was a synergy in feelings, because in their reviews, it was the most liked chapter out of all the chapters in the book. And I think my readers also found the information to be interesting and a different way to look at how friendship can affect our well-being. So now here we are, 4 years later, with this podcast with me as your host. And I'm so excited to dig into this world of friendship and non-romantic relationships with you all. And I specifically call out non-romantic relationships because we're also going to talk about family. We're going to talk about your coworkers. We're going to talk about all the other types of relationships that can impact our well-being. Some of the episodes will feature guest experts. Some of the episodes will just be with me, and that's where we're really going to be doing the work, y'all, okay? Because I'm going to have tools and exercises to help people go deep within themselves so that they can get deeper in their friendships and relationships. And then, sometimes we're gonna be with my own friends, and me and my friends are gonna break down how our relationship is going, how we became friends. Is there more that we want out of it? And I'm only slightly nervous for that, because I'm always open to feedback. I always want to make sure that I'm being the best friend that I can be to someone. So it's going to be interesting. But ultimately, I want to help y'all have better friendships. I want you guys to get joy out of your friendships. And I also want you to be a better friend to the people around you, okay? So I love Best Friend by Doja Cat and Sweetie. And I think the chorus of that song is truly the vibes that we're going for here. I want your friends to be telling people that y'all are best friends with so much pride and joy and gusto. And, I'm also here to help you navigate struggles that you might be having in your current friendships and relationships, and helping you get clarity on what are the next steps that you need to take to either heal or deepen or move on from that relationship. So we're doing it all here, y'all. And I cannot wait to dive into it all with you. So make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if you want to talk more about a particular episode, you have to join our Facebook community. The link will be in the show notes. And that's it. Oh my goodness. All right, y'all. I will see you next session, besties. I'm out. Did you love listening to Real Talk Friend Therapy as much as I loved recording it? Well, don't forget to show your girl some love with a 5-star review wherever you're listening to it. And also join our Patreon to unlock bonus recordings, videos, private chats, and more.